The truth is, success is boring. Most people fail because they're addicted to excitement. They're chasing the new, exciting, shiny object, while the people who actually win are the people who show up consistently every day doing the same thing over and over again. Let me explain why boring is actually your superpower. Hi, my name is Waad. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about why boring always wins, right? I feel like I've realized that whenever I have boring goals, they always seem to have the best ROI than like exciting goals, just because exciting goals are most of the time output goals and the boring goals are input goals. For example, I could say an exciting goal could be like, oh, I want to hit my 10K month in a month, right? But a boring goal would be like, oh, I need to post consistently every single day and have to batch content and make a schedule and come up with a strategy. That's boring, but it gives you the best results. It always has the best rewards. And so that's why I feel like boring is boring, but it always somehow wins and gets you more further. People want fast results, something new, something exciting. But the thing that actually changes your life are things that are repetitive, predictable, and honestly kind of boring. I mean, when you think about it like this, waking up at the same time, doing the same thing, getting 1% better every single day, none of that feels glamorous. None of that feels exciting. But that is exactly what separates successful people from everyone else. I want to make this clear for everyone. You don't fail because the work is too hard. You fail because it's boring. When you first started something, it felt exciting, but after a while, the excitement wore off. You know, doing things like posting when nobody's seeing, doing boring work, working for hours without seeing any instant results is boring. I mean, I feel like for me personally, when I first started putting in work towards my business, it was so hard to do because it was boring. I didn't want to do it, right? But I slowly had to teach my brain that boring is normal. I had to teach my brain that doing boring work is normal, right? So even just doing 30 minutes a day of work, trying to, reprogram my mind to think that doing boring work isn't necessarily fun, but it is something that I have to do in order to see the results that I desire, right? And that's why I see a lot of people quit, not because the task was impossible or hard, but because it was boring. Here's the truth. Boredom isn't a sign that you should stop. Boredom is a sign that you're actually doing the real work. Every successful person has done the same thing over and over again. Not perfectly, but just consistently. They didn't have to give their 100% every single time, but all they had to do was just show up every single day. Now, repetition builds three things. Firstly, skill. What feels hard today becomes easier tomorrow. Second thing is discipline. Doing the things you don't want to do, even if you don't feel like it. And the third thing is results. Small actions repeated consistently creates results. Now, repetition isn't glamorous, but it's the only actual thing that actually works. Think about it. If you put the work towards your goal every single day consistently without missing a day, it's impossible to fail if you keep going, right? And that's what repetition is, doing the same thing over and over again. Every successful person has done it. Same thing, repetition. That's what it is. Switching strategies feels productive, but it's avoidance. Starting something new is exciting. Having a fresh new beginning feels exciting, right? But sticking with something, that's actually the hard part. Imagine sticking with something day after day not seeing any results, but still sticking to it. Because, like most people, I feel like they switch strategies without even giving it time to actually work, right? You can't just blame the strategy when you don't even give it time and then go start something new, because you're chasing a new business model every time everyone's talking about it because you have FOMO, fear of missing out, right? But the thing is, switching every time something feels hard is not going to work. You're just going to waste your time. And I wish I knew that, right? But for me personally, my strategy for my business, it was working, right? And then it stopped working. And I gave it enough time. I gave it a couple of months. I actually gave it time to work. It worked, and then it stopped working. And then that's when I was like, you know what? I need to come up with a different strategy, because this strategy no longer works, because it worked for the time frame. It worked for the specific period of time, but then it stopped working. And then I had to come up with a different strategy because I had to, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. And it's very slow, but I am sticking to it and I'm giving it time to work, and I'm slowly starting to see results with it. That's fine. But switching strategies just because you want to, just because it feels exciting, that's not how it works. You need to give it time in order for it to work. It's not going to work in a day. You need to give it time and be patient with it, because the problem was never actually the strategy. The problem was your inability to stick with it. Now, I don't need you to do much. All I want you to do is master the basics. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need simple actions done repeatedly, right? Like posting every day, writing content, making the calls, showing up, doing the work, improving a little every single day. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need simple actions done repeatedly. Now, this could be posting every day, writing content, making those calls you need to make, doing them consistently over time. They compound, right? The basic work, they work. Showing up daily, putting in the work, improving a little every single day. Most people won't do this because it's too simple or too boring. They want the secret hack. But the secret is that there is no secret. Just the basic tasks done daily, consistently, repetitively. The secret is there is no secret. You just need to do the things that most people aren't willing to do. And that is just simple daily action done repeatedly. That's all it ever was. There is no secret. The last thing is learn to enjoy the process, right? If you obsess over the results, if you only enjoy results, you will quit before you even get them. But if you learn to enjoy the process, the routine, the repetition, the daily actions you put in every day, you become unstoppable, right? You need to literally reprogram your mind to be able to enjoy doing the boring work. I feel like even I struggled with this. I always was obsessed with the results, right? But then I learned to enjoy the process. Think about it. One day you're going to be successful, get everything that you've ever wanted, and then you're going to be like, damn, I miss that time where I was just locked in doing the work every single day, because it feels like a mission. You're going to look back and you're going to miss doing the work. So learn to enjoy it, because if you reprogram your mind to enjoy doing the boring stuff, doing the work even when no one is watching, success becomes inevitable. There is no way that you will fail, because success is inevitable. It's impossible to not become successful if you're obsessed with doing the boring things, because that's all you ever have to do in order to succeed. The conclusion? Boring wins. Not because it's flashy, but because it's consistent. And consistency creates results. Most people will quit when it gets boring, but you can be different. You can embrace boring. Boring always wins, and so can you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate all the support, and I'll see you next week. Bye!